proceed to the nearest exit. All personnel, proceed to the nearest exit. All personnel, proceed to the nearest exit. All personnel, proceed to the nearest exit. Proceed to the nearest exit.
So Nimble Tools just dropped their argent compressor like a few minutes ago, and we're going to look at it. I have tried this compressor on the track that you heard in the beginning, and I can say that this is one of the most interesting compressors I ever heard, and it's one of the compressors that I really wanted in my toolkit. It's more aggressive than ODT, and it gives your samples or some things that you wanted to push to the limit, you know. It gives you that last drop of madness to your mix or to your samples, whatever you are putting it on. In the example track that you heard in the beginning, I had the argentcomp on vocal thingy in the beginning, on the guitars, maybe a few samples, and the bass bus. I will show you the controls, and I will show you some ways that you can utilize this compressor in your mix or in your songwriting. So here is the compressor. As you can see, it's a very straightforward interface without any like interesting or maybe confusing things for someone. We have a big round knob with a range where you can see how and when like compressor will start working. Those are maybe the same like 3 frequency bands like the OTT has, but you can't like actually move them as you could in the OTT. Instead you have like a multiband knob that allows you to shift your frequencies around, maybe something like that, and you can like look at the meters to understand which frequencies are you targeting mostly. We have an attack knob and a release knob. Attack and release knobs work pretty much the same way as in your usual compressor, but here utilizing release knob when you are having your attack on 0 will give you interesting like bit crush gate slash distortion effect, and I will show you how to get that effect and what you can do with it basically. Moving on, we have pre-filter and post-filter. And then we have clipper or limiter mode and the knob for the volume, for output volume. Here near the logo we have a few presets which are interesting to say the least. And yeah, let's check it out what we can do with this type of compressor. Here is how you can utilize the range knob and release knob to have that gate distortion bit crush effect. So here I have rolls on the cymbals, not like rolls, but you will hear what it is. And using the argentcomp, I can make this rolls basically stand out more or transform them to a completely different thing. Here are the rolls without argent compressor turned on. It's okay, but we can make it sound really interesting. So now we engage the argent compressor and yeah, let's hear it. Definitely something interesting. Like I can see that I can like use it somewhere in my other cues that I've done. So yeah, I think it's very interesting, and it's really cool how the noise floor is just like 100 times louder than it usually is. Here is a argent compressor on a track with the samples that I mixed up with my drums on this track. And again, this thing with like distortion gate bit crush thingy, like you can use it to just, you know, give your other samples that you're mixing up with your drums just that another like interesting element to them. So here are the drums without. Those are like straight one shots, and I mean they sound decent for the thing that I'm going for, but we can just make it a bit interesting. And turning argent compressor on, having that range knob just at the place where the sound of the samples is just going up and then drops gives you that like machine gun distortion basically. And together with the original library, it sounds something like this. Maybe it's not for everyone, but I think for me, I liked something like this. It's very interesting. Let's see how argent compressor is working on a big bass group. I have 4 tracks with the basses. Basically, these 4 tracks of the basses are playing maybe an octave apart from each other, but mostly they're making like this one fat and aggressive sound. So first bass sounds like this. Second bass is basically a synthesizer, just very, very low. It's already compressed by OTT or something similar, if I remember correctly. And next bass sounds like something like this. And the bass that is on top of everything else. So together we are getting this like big pack of basses. And now with argent compressor we compress them to hell basically. Next up we got corrupt lead. which is basically a synthesizer preset. And again, utilizing that gate distortion thingy, we're just giving another dimension in our track, something like this. So without argent compressor, it sounds like this, which is okay, but with argent compressor, it becomes something more than just a preset. On guitars, I used argent compressor differently. On radio, basically radio effect guitar, we are having the argent compressor later in our chain, which is basically gives us like 100% boost to the noise floor. So everything is squashed and you can hear like basically everything on that channel, and which is very interesting because I usually use either Neural DSP Omega or Neural DSP Nolly, and I always I wanted always to have something, I don't know, like an edge for my radio effect guitar. And here I just smashed the argent compressor on top of that chain, and it basically I'm even like sure I haven't changed anything. So it's like default preset with just volume knob just turned a bit down, and it just gave that, I don't know how to call it, but it just gave an edge to my radio effect guitar. So basically it became a lot more loud first of all, and without it it sounds like this, and with argent compressor it sounds like this. Like you can hear that bit crushed bits on top of the guitar, which is very interesting. I really like that. And on left and right guitar, which is basically the same preset, maybe with a different cap section, I guess. Yeah, with just different caps. So the argent compressor here is in front of the whole chain, and it's very interesting how it gives that compression to your DI. It's basically makes it more stable, like sounds something like when people refer to Born of Osiris or like virtual guitar player, which is basically no mistakes and just very, like on a grid. So it sounds without argent compressor, the DI straight to the Neural DSP sounds like this. If you listened close enough to that take, you maybe heard that I misplayed or just was not very good at some parts. So with argent compressor, it becomes a bit better. I would say it just becomes more compressed. So if you are at least going for that type of guitar playing in your track where it's just squashed and no mistakes whatsoever, I think this thing will help you a fucking ton. So with argent compressor it sounds like this, the same part, and together guitar sounds something like this. Maybe not very noticeable difference, but I can say for myself that I can hear it. So yeah, I really like how it plays out on my guitars. Next up we got two samples that I used before the break, and we will see how the argent compressor works on them. By the way, if you want to like fine-tune your range knobs or attack, release, whatsoever, you can hold the control and just move the knob, and it gives you that small steps to fine-tune your compressor, which is really nice. I think it's something that this compressor definitely needs. So without argent compressor, this sample sounds like this. Basically just machinery. And with argent compressor, you can hear on top of the sample the downsample, the bit crushed bits, and another sample which is like a signal. And with argent compressor, it sounds like this. Like your noise floor goes 100% up, which is very cool. And the last thing is basically it's TTS that I used in this track, which I didn't want to record myself, but when I first saw the argent compressor, I was really interested in the feature, maybe not the feature, the effect that this compressor gives you when you're putting it on the vocal track. It gives you like, it's something like a Foreman shift, but not a Foreman shift. It gives you this interesting effect where your vocals is like split in different frequencies, and you got like, sounds almost like it adds, you know, like a pitch shift effect on top of the compression. I can't like describe it, but basically like this is how the sample sounds.
Proceed to the nearest exit.
And this is how it sounds with argent compressor.
Proceed to the nearest exit.
Even if I turn on multiband off, the effect of the like crushing, I guess, or like squashing this TTS, it becomes like more aggressive, and with multiband it just gives that effect that I was always searching for. If you liked how it sounds, how this compressor sounds, I'm urging you to get it, because it's great compressor for something like in genre of argent metal, or basically in genre of something. If you like Mick Gordon basically, and if you like Geoff plays guitar, you definitely need to get this one. It's very fun thing to play around, and it's very cool thing to process your samples with. So yeah, I hope you like this small review and the song in the beginning. And if you want something like this more frequently, I would say subscribe to the channel and leave a comment, and the like would be appreciated. Thank you and have a good day.